Hello, Terry.
There he is. What's going on?
Not too much.
Did you have a good day?
Had a great day.
Bruce Rarick just joined us. Ben Shear. John Wright is a fan from Australia. So it's kicking off. So do you think people realize who you teach every day, Mike? What do you think the biggest misconception is, who you teach every day? Hey, Rob. What do you think? I don't think people realize how many juniors you teach.
Well, I teach a ton of juniors.
Hey, what's up, Ben? So, people come along and say, hey, Tommy's here. Sorry, my robot vacuum cleaner is just finishing. Okay, it's done. Tommy just came on, said hi. Hello, Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor's here. He's running the show on Monday.
And Tuesday.
And Dr. Klein just came on. He's going to be doing a presentation in the in-between weeks with, he's a coach of like psychotherapist, so he's going to talk about how to coach.
So he knows that you and I are psycho and we need a therapist.
Yeah. So what's up? What's going on? What did you learn this week?
Just learn that, the more you do this, the better you get.
That's the truth. So, it's really funny when you think like, I don't know, what do people think of Mike Adams or Terry Rowles and what they teach? And the interesting thing is it's always changing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, within a
answer
theme.
Is it depends upon the student.
That's true. And so the students are always teaching us, I guess. Are you checking your teeth in the screen?
Yeah. Keelan. Hop on, Keelan, for a second. Ask Keelan what he learned today.
Hey, just want to add, people go and see Mike teach, and if you ever get that lucky opportunity, then you better write shit down as you're doing it. I learned that today.
That's for sure.
Otherwise, you're going to get kicked out.
What happened to the guy that wasn't taking notes?
He got asked to leave politely.
So he didn't just want to do a selfie with you.
No, I mean, basically, I have not given a lesson since I've been back here that hasn't at least been one person watching. Like today we had Keelan and we had also Sarah, and yesterday we had Keelan, Sarah, and we had three people. We had a bunch of people.
Mike, are you one of those people that always likes to run around with an entourage?
No.
Just turns out that way, right?
There's nothing to be entourage about.
So, how many lessons have you given this week?
How many hours are there?
That many. So, Mike, did you give any lessons this week without knowing the tests of the people?
No.
So, when
Zero.
people say to us, "Hey, you got this ultimate golf lesson, workshop coming up," are you going to do something different? Like, as in, can you not just show us the test? So
we're going to show the test, but we're going to talk about some other things too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the lesson process as well, right?
Right.
So there's lots of levels to getting better at teaching. But the reason why we show all the tests all the time is because people don't do them and they forget how to do it, right?
Peter Karcher just joined, and so did Evan Broderick.
So there's other teachers that join us, Mike, who find out that one of the tests works really well and they give up the other ones.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No.
No, I really like the grip test, but I'm not such a big fan of that, swing style stuff.
Or the post test.
Oh, no. People load up on the front leg, they're going to be too steep, Amateurs can't do that. Is that true?
There's Edmund again. Yeah.
He just wants to be recognized.
That's why he did it again. He put himself on it again.
So what are some misconceptions? That would be one of them, right? So if you're a front post, then you're going to
you have
hit
no
down
power
too
on the
much.
front post.
So we know that's not true, right? Because people still move to the right. They just moved to the left earlier.
Right.
And most recently, we saw that with Bryson DeChambeau's GASP data when the guys were saying, what's really interesting is how early he moves back to his front foot. And that is because he is a front post.
Post golfer.
That's right. He's just a faster front post golfer now.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the key to getting a front post golfer to hit it further?
Swing harder.
Do you
Now,
charge for that, or is that just like
everything.
yeah?
They're going to utilize more verticals. They're going to utilize, it all depends on their grip, But front post is, they're going to utilize a lot of verticals for power because they're not going to have much horizontal.
So somebody who's got a 3 inches longer wingspan and their arms get low, would you change their plane? I guess it depends on the form relationship at the top, but
Right.
it sounds if they're getting flat, then
Yeah,
could be something else going on.
Wingspan is just dictating the start of the backswing.
Right.
At the top, if they have the forearm to upper arm is shorter or the same, it's going to be flatter because that's really what dictates the top on down.
And then the external rotation has a component, right? So
Correct.
So the interesting thing, we were talking with Phil, is there isn't necessarily a top of the backswing, right? So if somebody, is pretty steep, let's say in the backswing, and then they shallow, then it really doesn't stop moving. It just kind of moves down and around, like Sergio, I would say. His club is not going to come to a rest. Furyk's another one, right? Exactly.
Matthew Wolf.
See, I'm getting into shape for our winter workshop, Mike. Drinking tea now while I speak.
You're drinking tea? If I drink tea, I have to pee.
So no tea for you then. We want to see,
want to
see you the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And Daisy's promised not to jump in my lap.
Well, there's, we got to check the weather forecast for your times of being on board.
It's 2 to 6, right?
2 to 6 Eastern time on Monday, Tuesday.
Right.
And for those that watched the first Ultimate Golf lesson, they know that there was chair creaking and all sorts of things going on, but it wasn't you, it was your dog.
Well, no, storm happened, and all of a sudden,
it was a big one.
86-pound Labrador Retriever decided to jump into my lap and knock the thing over.
Unbelievable.
She got terrified.
So when people learn the system really well, Mike, I mean, we've had a bunch of people since I've been around doing really good work.
Mm-hmm.
And, actually a bunch of just regular golfers pick it up sometimes really quickly. It's kind of hit and miss who does it, right? So what would you say are the characteristics of people that have become the best at teaching the system? They
become really good teachers.
Yeah.
They make people a lot better, and, they get more excited about the game because, the whole thing is when you take the guessing out of teaching, you're not rolling the dice and say, well, let's try this. Let's try this. Mm-hmm. You actually know where to attack and what to do first.
That's right. And so if we could create 2 buckets and say, these people do our education and your education previously and don't get better. So what kind of characteristics do they do? And then some people do the education and they not only do they teach other people better, but they play a lot better as well. And that's kind of fun.
Well, see, the ones that just watch, who do the education but don't utilize the information are just like the guy that I kicked off the tee, Sat there for an hour and a half, and I said, have you taken any notes? He said, no. I said, do you have a photographic memory? He said, no. So I said, get the hell out of here. He said, what? I said, well, you're not, I said, you can't remember it. You're not writing it down. So what are you doing here? Just leave.
Terry Pickledaris is here.
Ah.
And he is and Bruce is here as well, actually. You got the whole team here. Terry, I haven't seen Tim pop up. And Terry is actually leading I think it's the Vic Open right now. Is that right, Terry? Are you on the 9th tee? Terry
might be.
When his playing partners are going to miss the cut, he tests them during the tournament. So somebody who's bought into the system and loves to teach it, puts it into his own game with second. Must have tucked one. Works with Tim and Wood down in Australia, who's doing incredible work. So if anybody wants to follow, a teacher that's teaching the system, Tim Wood is doing a really good job and putting up some good content. Parky's putting up some good content. So Parky's going to be presenting at the thing. Actually, Tim Wood sent us a lesson as well. So after we've done the 20 hours of formal education, we're going to send out videos of our top teachers giving lessons and doing the assessments, so you can watch.
Is Tim still doing it at his house?
No, he's at a range.
Well, he's got a range at his house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, not sure.
You haven't seen
There
him
you go.
dump balls and he roll into the cow patties?
So Dean said Terry tested him mid-round in the Pro-Am, which is normal. Normally he doesn't wait until the mid-round. He waits until you make a double bogey and then he tests you. Pretty funny. But we got a good little crew down there, Mike. Dan Wiley's doing well, and I think Richard Hatt is doing really well. I haven't met Richard, but David Adele tells us that he's doing a good job down there, and Terry's doing great. He's getting into teaching. So, are you
He's making money playing. Just keep playing, Terry.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Well, obviously, he had some time off there. I think he only just started playing like 2 weeks ago, for 8 months or something. It's a nice Hamilton Farm shirt you have on there, Mike. You're going to get in trouble with George.
Yeah. What Hamilton Farm shirt?
I'm gonna get George onto you.
Well, just give me a new shirt, George.
Yeah. So what else do we? What else are misconceptions, Mike?
Well, there's lots of misconceptions. I mean, everybody thinks that you can change to be whatever you want to be.
That is a big one.
Yeah, that's. He says, well, what if I want to be this? Well, go ahead, but you're going to get hurt. One of two things happen: you either get hurt or you play terrible, or actually both happen.
Yeah, it happens pretty frequently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a new acronym: space and face. So if you put it in the right space with the right face, you can go ahead. But if it's out of the right space and you have the wrong face, then you have to use your muscles and body to redirect it in a non-natural way. So Terry Pilkadaris is warning us that he has a question, but not actually asking a question. I always wonder about that. Can I ask you a question? Well, you just did. And someone says, how about side cover short game? I'll go first. I say side cover is usually a very good short chippers because they deliver a lot of spin loft and bounce naturally. They can just go ahead and release. What do you think about side cover short gamers, Mike?
I definitely like them.
And then
Patrick Reed,
side
cover short game.
And
Sergio Garcia.
Yeah, Rory's
Rory?
short wedge play looks really good. I haven't looked at his stats, but he's got a pretty mean flop shot I saw on Instagram the other day. And they got under golfers tend to suit pitching more, in my opinion, because they swing out to the right and deliver a little less loft. So those need to cross-pollinate and help each other. That's right. Well, Dustin Johnson now.
Dustin Johnson. The best is Zach Johnson.
That's right. He's another one was Stuart Sink's a great wedge player.
Yep.
Beautiful trajectory and what have you. So Terry, test play with arms died under downswing side cover, then retest right arm swing only in side cover. Then he probably didn't hold the shoulders, I would guess, or didn't.
Right.
Not sure if you're allowed to hold the shoulders in Melbourne right now. So if you don't, if you don't hold the shoulders, it makes it very different.
Well, if you hold the shoulders and it's a woman student, you could end up with sexual harassment.
Yeah, that's actually a reasonably good point. So well,
let's
Terry,
talk about some players.
Yeah. Okay. So who we got at the top of the rankings at the moment? Well, Patrick Reed. Let's talk about Patrick Reed. He did well last week.
Well, Patrick Reed is side cover golfer who migrated to working more under to side on to side under, and began to have a two-way miss. And Ledbetter moved his right hand more on top and got him swinging more down into the left. And all of a sudden, Patrick Reed wins again.
Yeah, that was definitely, and he was taking it back a little bit more shut. And, there's a ton of matchups going on there, which were definitely helpful. Who else we got?
How about Rory? Rory who's side cover, who's now migrated to side under, trying to hit up on it, and now he's got a two-way miss, like Patrick Reed did.
Yeah, I think that, it's kind of interesting. These guys play obviously a lot of golf and don't always have time to, or the knowledge sometimes to focus on the right mechanics, right? And so if you look at, Rory and Patrick Reed, it's almost like, they're hitting these slinging draws. And I personally believe that, as a side cover golfer, if you don't pay attention, and hit draws and try and hit up on it, gradually you're going to migrate more under. So I think that
Brooks Koepka is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Played all his best golf with the right hand like this, and Koepka went back there outside and hit down on everything. Now he's trying to hit up on it. Now he's got a two-way miss.
Yeah. To me, his swing looks awesome right now. Misses it left, but his right hand just needs probably to move over to stop that left shot, right?
Correct. He moves that right hand in better position. All of a sudden, his little better cut as comes back, and he starts being one of the best players in the world again, as does Roy. If Rory and Brooks move this back over here, world beaters. It's just like, Hunter Mahan, front post golfer, worked on trying to get to the right more, and he went from one of the top players in the world to a guy who can't make cuts on the web.com. He went back to just staying on the front post and swinging.
Did you ever test him? I'm not 100% sure what his grip would be. I would guess it might be side under. Oh yeah, side on makes sense.
He's side on, and he's front post, and he's working. He's worked to side under, and he's shifting to the right. So he's got a bag of tricks going.
Well, I think if there's people watching who've done the system, and you've done the education, what have you. Sometimes the plane can affect the post, right? So in that case, somebody who potentially rolls it too much is going to pull himself off the ball. So it's always a question of getting those two things to work independently and then together, right?
Well, look at Lydia Code. They got her more centered. She was a rear post. Her right hand was under because she is under, and they moved her right hand to neutral. So her right hand is neutral, and she's more centered. Her club head speed went from 93.94 to 83.84, and she went from number one in the world to somebody who no longer a competitor or contender. She's since kind of moved back to the right hand, a little more under, and she's shifting to the right again, and she's starting to play good again.
Yeah, I think
you got to be who you are.
I think they've had a look at kind of what she was doing. There's always that reference, right? I mean, in history of when people have played well, if only they know when to turn around and go back, it would be a good thing.
You got to leave the breadcrumbs so you can follow it back.
I think you learned that from Chris Como.
I think he learned that from other people.
Doug Spencer says, what would you do with Jordan Spieth?
Well, Jordan Spieth, okay, perfect example. Jordan Spieth, you tested him, side cover. When Jordan Spieth was the number one player in the world, he hit fades, played with a side cover grip, and his verticals were 248% of his body weight. He has since moved to more side under, so he can hit up on it, trying to get more distance. That's why his hand went to this at the top, and then they try to make that squared, making it even worse. And his verticals went from 248 to 162, but his lateral increased, and so he's got a lot more lateral, a lot less vertical, and he doesn't have control of the ball. So now he hits blocks and hooks, and it's hard for him to find the golf ball after he hits it. I mean, truly a wonderful talent, and he'll figure it out.
He's a great guy as well. It's someone that I think everybody is pulling for to get better. I asked him actually, when did you hit at your best? And he's, I won tournaments different ways and this and that. I said, no, but when did you win it by winning it, by hitting it good? And he's like, that was in, Tiger's tournament, and he won by, I think, 6 or something. And then he went to the Australian Open and shot a 63, I think, in the last round with a lot of wind. And he said, I said, what was the shape here? I think he said, flat cuts. So talk about how, with that regard, how launch monitors have been really good for us in terms of, actually measuring what's going on and understanding ball flight, but then people's kind of selective choice of which numbers to focus on. What would you what would you say
launch
about how's
monitors
the
have
best
been
way?
great, and they've been great for us, and they've been bad for the industry in some ways because people choose to look at, they think 0 is the number they're looking for. So they try to make everybody 0 out, and so they create swing mechanic changes to get it to 0 out, which isn't always what needs to happen. If you are side cover on top, you're going to see a more downward angle attack. You're going to see more spin with the driver. You're going to see the path moving more to path and swing direction moving more to the left. The face more square to open. Where if you're a side under or under golfer, you're going to see lower spin, the path moving more to the right, and the face more closed to the path. And so everybody tries to bring them back to the middle. When they do that, they make people worse because not everybody should be there. Now,
That's
as far
right.
as for helping us, we know what they should be, so we try to create the numbers that match their what their biomechanics dictate they should be.
Yeah, and I think even listening to us now, people don't fully realize that the grip and then the club delivery is not really optional, right? So you could have somebody get the wrong, club delivery information, like, we're talking about Spieth, so maybe he's trying to hit up on it from a square stance. I mean, obviously he can hit up on it, but he should be aiming in the right rough, right?
You should be close with the stance.
And that would help him hit up on it, but also, match up to his style. But let's say somebody says you've got to hit up on it, and so they keep their aim straight, and they end up basically side bending. And if they keep doing that, the grip also changes, right? It's kind of interesting.
Right, it starts to work more and more under.
So even just a single piece of misinformation relative to their style could really bring the house of cards down, as it were.
Well, look at Rory. Rory always had a little bit open shoulders, which was a good thing for him because of the right-hand grip, so the club went back out as a side cover golfer, and he had a little bit down on it and had 2,800 spin. Then he would close the stance, and he could play draws and play unbelievable. Well, he's now squared everything up, and now he's trying to hit up on everything because he has he has some external shoulder rotation that helps him drop the club in the slot, but he's now working on trying to hit up on it, and he's got a two-way miss again.
Well, he hits up like 4 or 5 degrees. He doesn't need to do it anymore.
No.
That's enough. I think, in my opinion, we're just bullshitting here. I think his swing changed in around 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And, he used to go back much more with the club outside his hands, have the shaft more vertical, and across the line kind of as one natural motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he tried to round it out, right? So, square up his shoulders, try and take at some point you try to take the club more down the toe line. Club still gets across the line, but that early roll, for us, I mean, that's going to cause him to lose control of his club face. And if you look at his, his misses, it's kind of a flip left.
Yeah.
The antithesis of that, who I think swings really, really well, is Victor Hovland,
Right.
who matches up really well to his, side cover. So he reverses his steering wheel and keeps his rate of opening low in the backswing, which doesn't give him any problems. So it's interesting, how people try and fix things. Terry's asking you, what would you do with Ricky Fowler?
Well, Ricky Fowler, when he played his best golf, he's probably one of the most on top we've ever tested. That's what Phil said.
Yeah.
And when I've tested him, he's quite a bit on top.
Yep.
He's center posted and to almost front, and the club hinged and went outside, and he hit the ball beautifully. Okay. He is now working the club down the line. The right hand has been neutralized, and he's shifting to the right to try to create more power. And as a result, he's lost control of his golf club, and he's lost control of his golf ball.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts on the bent left arm impact? Yeah.
Well, if you're an under golfer, I mean, it's not okay. Under golfers and side under golfers don't really have a bent left, right arm. Bent left or right?
Left arm. I got an answer for that, but you go ahead.
I mean, if we're going to talk about, it worked great for, Curtis Strange. I mean, I don't think about that.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about Spieth's. I mean, but I would say, historically, Lee Westwood, really, I mean, super covers it and doesn't push up. So it's almost like a space thing that,
There's not enough room.
Yeah, exactly. So
He had more
that's
verticals. The arms would both extend.
Yeah.
But Spieth does it as a saving grace because his right hand is under, which shuts the face.
Yeah.
And the right hand wants to come down this way, and he's trying to keep the face open.
Yeah, that's kind of what I haven't really super analyzed that, but with Westwood, I would say people with a side cover grip tend to spin the ball, and consequently, if they're not fit perfectly, or if they want to see the ball come out a little bit flatter, they'll tend to lean into it a little bit more, and if they don't, then push up, they'll be very steep. So I would say it's a shallowing mechanism for Westwood.
It is.
And Brooks, same thing, very similar. Yeah.
Yep.
So who else we got? I'd say let's talk about the plane of the shot.
Talk about what's going on. One of the best side cover on top golfers, out there, and he's struggling right now. You know who I'm talking about?
Well, I was gonna actually bring up Keimer, who has disappeared, but I don't think that's who you're talking about.
No, Charlie Hoffman.
Yeah, I mean he's one of the most on top golfers I've seen, and in addition, he has the the face open address.
Right.
And then hits that. I love how his right arm action is it's about as good as it gets. The right arm gets deep, left arm gets across the chest, and he really covers it. So I haven't seen him play much, but I like his move.
Looks like he's starting to move more to under with the right hand. His stance has gotten real wide, and he's got a lot of shift in it. And looks like he's trying to get a lot of side bend on the way down, which is not beneficial for his swing type, his mechanics.
Who else? Oh, I was who I was gonna talk about is how people talk a lot about shallowing, but if you look at Jason Day and Martin Keimer, how their shaft is through their shoulder plane.
Right.
Kind of interesting how probably both of them at some point have tried to change it, but John Senden's through the neck plane.
Right, in the backswing. Well, Sender went back.
Downswing, he's above his shoulder plane in the downswing too.
He'd go back steep and then come down steeper.
Yeah.
And nobody hit it better than him. Jason Day would go back on the torso plane but come down on the shoulder plane. Keimer would go back high torso or low shoulder and come down more on the shoulder plane. I mean, plane of fade. I mean, far as Jason Day, he's got a longer forearm than upper arm, and his wingspan's the same. So he goes back torso, comes down steep. But what's happened to him, his stance has gotten wider and wider and wider. So he's moved more and more lateral, which starts to shallow the club more. Yeah. And now which is going to hurt his back more, and he's going to hit it. He's got the two-way miss going.
Yeah, that's kind of the late under, isn't it? They get steep,
right.
And steep early, late under. So Bruce, he was driving, listening to us driving, but he pulled over because he had an epiphany. Bruce Rarick. He said, you just cured, well, I think he means himself, but you just cured Spieth's putting side cover ball forward, which is a mismatch. So the side cover grip, the arc goes left earlier, so you need the ball further back, right, Terry Pilkadaris?
Right.
And so, you can close your stance. And so right now, I think he has to close his stance and get the ball forward to make it work. So, so side cover golfers usually will have the ball further back on putting, otherwise they'll toe it and wipe it.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Rarick and David Adele, probably two of the most knowledgeable people on the putting stroke. And they're utilizing our system with their putting, and it's amazing what they've come up with. And that's what's going to be exciting in the Ultimate Golf Lesson. They're going to talk about
both of them, right?
Understanding, for the first time, people are going to understand what grips actually match which people who should be putting with what.
So Edmund is asking about side under putt, and I think it's one of those things that has been very well taught over the years. Like, tuck the right arm in,
right.
move it with your rib cage kind of thing. So I think people have overly taught side under in the full swing, through hitting up on it too much and tucking the elbow in front of the hip, reducing face rotation perceptually. And in putting, same thing, right? People don't allow that arm to get out. They don't allow the chest to be open, and the ball back, right? I mean, it's just interesting how people have a preference, right? What do we think of preferences, Mike?
Preferences. I mean, basically, your preference should be what you match out to be.
Right.
Nicklaus, side cover golfer, right elbow is way out when he putts. Probably the greatest putter who ever lived. Arnold Palmer. Billy Casper. All these guys matched up perfectly.
Yeah, but it's like, how old are you? Like 87?
No, I'm 104.
I
I only look like 103, so I look better than I am. You know what they say, if you're going to be an ass, you might as well be a smart ass.
You know what I say? It's better to be a smart ass than a dumbass. I think I learned that one from you, actually. So talk about how, these patterns have kind of been fashionable over the years. Has anybody, well, I guess Hogan encouraged a weak grip. So sometimes at some point in time, people were teaching a weak grip, but I don't remember. Johnny Miller probably was influential.
Yep.
No, just in terms of like influencing the market, right?
Yeah, but they didn't talk about the right hand grip ever.
Yeah.
Nobody focused on Nicklaus's right hand. Nobody focused on Snead's right hand. Nobody focused on, Hogan's right hand. Nobody focused on Trevino's right hand. They didn't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
They just talked about how much under Trevino
was.
Well,
the funny thing is, I have a great video in my presentation of Trevino, which was like finding, gold. And he goes, what you got to do is you got to get your right hand under as much as you can. And, and hold on, he says, if you don't hold that angle, that thing's going left. It's a great video. And then that's a complete opposition to
Nicklaus.
Nicklaus is Nicklaus and Hogan saying, you need to release it earlier. And I wish I had 3 right hands,
right.
Or 2 or 4. I had different numbers, but 3 sounds good.
But they were both right. They were just talking about what matched them.
Did Hogan ever watch you hit balls, Mike?
No.
Oh.
I got to watch Hogan hit balls.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
How old was he? Was he still at college?
No. Smart Alec. No, Hogan, we went out to Shady Oaks, and I was out there with Mike Cheddar, and we got to watch him hit some golf balls.
That's pretty cool.
It was.
Do you
the
remember,
rule was you could not say a word. You could ask a question when he was smoking a cigarette.
Oh, interesting. So what are the rules when people come and watch you?
Keep your eyes, ears, and mind open and mouth shut.
That'll do it.
And you need to take notes.
Keeping your mind open is an important thing in this business, isn't it? Because
yes, it is.
People don't realize how many levels there are. So we did a presentation yesterday for some people who didn't watch it. It's actually available on the Foresight IQ site now. And, a very smart guy asked me, because the theme of the presentation was how do we create a stock shot for each style, right? And, the question was, well, do you, teach everyone to hit one shot? And no, of course not. But we bring them back to their natural pattern and then teach them how to hit shots using their system, right?
Right.
And then, what people don't realize when they hear us talk about technical stuff is, we specify a specific window for each variable, and we're done like really quick, right? So when to stop teaching, right? And so we're able to go on the course and do playing lessons and things like that. And so it's we're technical in order to not be complicated, I would say, as a
right. Well, today I had a good example of that. Okay, I have a set of twins who are son twins. They are incredible, are they not?
Yeah, very, very talented.
And one is side under, one is side cover. And side by side. In fact, the balls almost collided as they
Oh,
go
that's
out like that.
hilarious.
And the drill that I had them doing were totally different. Her dad asked me
Yeah.
why I'm doing totally different because they're twins, and he said, "Well," I said, "because they swing the club differently, and they need to swing the club according to the way they are." And when he saw them, their ball striking improving and getting better, he goes, he liked that.
Yeah.
The kids are very talented, and you watch these both these kids will play Division I golf, and both these kids will play PGA Tour. Do you not agree?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
How many kids do you think you've sent to, coached to Division I golf, Mike?
Total?
Yeah, give me a big number.
I mean,
It's just reinforcing. People don't realize how many
1,000?
kids you teach, right?
1,000 kids. I mean,
As a percentage of your week, how many are under 20?
how many are under 20?
Yeah.
Oh, probably 50%, 40 to 50%.
So
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody says, when they talk about the great junior teachers,
that's what I was going to say.
and they never mention me. And I said, well, I've had 26 USGA winners. I've had 11 AJGA Players of the Year. My kids have won 16 PGA Juniors in over 200 AJGA tournaments. So that would qualify me as a pretty good teacher of juniors, wouldn't it?
I would say that would be pretty good, and I'm just glad I brought that up. I think little Maddie is going to be the man, though.
He'll be one of them. There's a whole bunch of them that are really good. I mean,
What's his best score recently?
66 in competition,
How
10
old is
years
he?
old.
He's a beast.
10 years old. He shot 66 3 times in competition now. He shoots,
Amazing.
his stroke average is probably right around 71, 72.
Unreal. Incredible.
There's a kid, Christian Collins, from over in where is he in? He's in Spain now.
Mm-hmm.
This kid, unbelievably talented, great club head speed, great golf swing, got unbelievable talent. He's going to be a good one too. There's a whole bunch of them. Katie Lee, Katie Lou.
Yeah, they're going to be good.
I mean, you go down the list. I mean, Jillian Bordich, who was runner-up in the U.S. Junior and won the. She won 5 AJGA tournaments. Faith Choi. I mean, there's so many. I've been blessed with so many phenomenal kids. It's unbelievable. And if I'm missing somebody, I'm gonna get hate emails and texts on their parents. But
how fast is little Katie swinging these days?
110 miles an hour
That's unbelievable.
for a driver, which is
Cross
faster
Test
than anybody
Junior.
in the ladies' tour. Pardon?
I'm just answering this person. We talked about Maddie. That was the kid from Hamilton Farm.
Yeah.
So, the kid from Hamilton Farm moved from Florida. That's
He is.
No, the 3 boys went to Duke.
Oh, Grazerman.
Grazerman's.
Yeah.
Matt.
I had the pleasure of working
Max.
with all of them.
Yeah.
I saw Max today. Had dinner with him the other night. Max is a wonderful talent. He's now working with Jeff Smith, but I taught Max basically for 18 years, and Dean and Reed. I mean, been pretty fortunate to be blessed to be able to work with so many talented kids.
Yeah. Didn't he get to like #1 junior in America or something?
He was #1 junior in America.
He's a beast. He's got some physical skills for sure. Hope he makes
And
it.
his little brother Dean, hits it farther than Max, who's 124 mile an hour.
Unreal. He's not so little Dean anymore.
Dean's about 6'2", and he's a big boy. He just won the Florida State Junior or Florida State Amateur, shooting 62 the last day.
So Frank Nobilo asked me a question to ask somebody the other day, and it was, when people are able to, get excited about new drivers and things like that, why do they not get excited about new innovations in golf? As in like swing theory or technology.
That's a great question.
Isn't that a great question? So what is it that makes people so reluctant to embrace change in the approach of things?
No, they're afraid to get worse than they already are. See, we hang on to things. Something works for us for a period of time, so we hang on to that, and so and then we find that somebody else makes something that makes sense, and we try to mix them in together. Well, if they don't match and they don't work well together, then we're just a mess.
Right. And it's interesting, you know, how teachers become influential, or even just, let's not say teachers, let's say, you know, approaches to golf become popular, right? Because over time,
Right.
you know, Jack Nicklaus's swing, or, you know, Tiger's swing, or, you know, whatever. There was always a swing of the time, right, that was kind of popular, or Adam Scott.
Well, it's whoever's playing the best at the time. See, in the old days, first it was whoever was playing the best. That was what everybody tried to do. And then what happened is the teachers started coming around, and whoever was teaching the player who was playing the best was what everybody tried to do. But now it's cool. How cool are you? What are you doing? How hip is it? And
well, you're cool, Mike. You've got like 10,000 followers on Instagram, which you've only just.
Cool. You know what? The one thing I have never been is cool.
Look
at this face.
Well, you keep following the sun.
The sun keeps following me.
I know. Well, you're lucky up at Fiddler's. That building's awesome.
Somebody says, you know, you got a sunburn. I said, no, that's a windburn. In Florida, it blows about 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's true. Huh?
You got to wear a hat with a chin strap.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, DJ. I don't know. How did people follow the shark? I don't think I really heard too many people following his theory. You know, like his swing.
But
or whatever.
he was a wonderful driver of the ball. Probably one of the 2 or 3 best drivers ever.
People followed his fashion and wore the shark hat. I think that was what they followed. So you remember Colin McCarthy saying, he's cool. He's got a great page on Instagram with all sorts of crazy trick shots.
Mm-hmm.
So he's running the system. So in addition, Mike, another one of the questions we always get is, are you guys going to do the same thing again next time as you did last time? I mean,
we do the same thing day to day in a lesson. Why would we do the same thing? And we got more information. See,
I think we've deconstructed our process a little bit better. You're going to talk about how you sequence a lesson and some of the ways you put the drills together. And I like what I saw the other day with that drill station. That was cool.
There's a lot of cool things.
Yeah, so cool stuff that you can teach people how to implement it, right? I think the way we are these days, if we explain here exactly how to do every single test, and there's 100 golf teachers watching, how many do you think would try it?
The ones that are already doing it.
And then if you said, okay, we'll show a video, of us doing it, it's almost like, they can step into your shoes. So that's what we're going to do this time is rather than just talk about it, we're going to have a bunch of our ambassadors and elite level teachers send in some videos. So, in between the sessions, they can actually watch some lessons. So that's kind of cool.
No, that's really cool.
Has your wingman been putting some good content together? Keelan, have you been working or sleeping?
No, I'm here. I'm making sure there's no technical glitches.
Have you got some good content for us next week?
Yes, I do indeed. Yeah, it's all coming your way.
Because it's not a question of whether Mike's delivering the good content. It's a question of whether you're capturing it.
Yeah, he won't let me say the F word when I'm teaching. He has to bleep it all out.
I see he's grown his hair, so you can't see if he's looking or not.
Don't be jealous of my hair, right? There's a lot done. Yeah, I just need to edit it all and send it on to you. But yeah, it's going to make.
John Morrison has a question for you, Mike. Do you think social media tips help or hurt golfers? That's a good question. That's a good question. That's right.
No, I mean, some help, some hurt. So you can't, anytime, one tip, that's the hard thing about the Instagram. That's why when I do my Instagram tips, I try to identify who we're talking to, which audience, and I try to do it different for each thing.
Right.
But, as long as you apply what applies to you, then it's going to be good. If it doesn't, then it's going to make you worse.
Well, I think that's the important thing that I think you and I both, if we see someone doing good work with the right person, I think we give full credit. So, it's almost like everybody gets it right sometimes. And our job is to just, get the not getting it right part to be as small as possible, right?
I mean, how many people go on out and watch a Randy Smith teach, or a Butch teach, or a Chuck Cook teach, or a Jim Hardy teach, or a David Ledbetter teach, or, any of those guys? Those guys are amazing. Terry, I love watching you teach. I learn something every time I watch you teach because you're phenomenal. I learn something every time I watch Andrew Park teach. He does some amazing things.
Oh, he's got some great stuff.
It's fun to watch good teachers teach. And it's fun because the enthusiasm they have is off the charts.
That's right.
I mean, it's funny watching Sarah now teach. I mean, Sarah's so excited about everything, as is Doug Spencer. It's like kids in a candy store.
Doug's doing great work there.
So is Sarah.
Seems like, yeah. Well, she doesn't post all her lessons, but Doug is putting his juniors up on Instagram. So if anyone's in North Carolina, Doug Spencer's the way to go.
Well, you got Tina Toombs out there in Arizona who's just knocking them dead, who measures everybody.
Oh man, she is. Talk about enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, Carol Preisinger out in Hilton
she's
Head.
on here somewhere.
She knocks them dead. Phenomenal teacher, measures her students. I mean, when you have a lesson from Carol or Tina, you have a good time. You and I yell at them, but they two pretty girls making them feel good. You and I are two ugly guys making them feel bad.
Well, that's why we have to swear, just to make them realize that we give a shit.
Right.
Did you ever work with someone with a tremor who plays decent and then hits it sideways? Yes,
I had one of my closest friends, Carrie Merritt, had Parkinson's, and we worked with it, and we got him. I was the first person I ever gave the claw to, and also moved his right hand more side cover and got him trying to hook everything, and all of a sudden he could hit it, and we closed his stance, and it made it so he could play golf. He was breaking 80, with Parkinson's disease. He was the first one. I've had several since then. I learned a lot working with Carrie, because it helped me to understand what I needed to do to make people better.
Yeah, I mean, how to work with what you have in front of you, right? So you have all these tools. All right, let's think about some more players. Yanni Sang.
Yanni Sang, front post golfer, way underneath, 107 mile-an-hour clubhead speed, won 18 tournaments and 6 majors before she was 22. She left Gary Gilchrist and started trying to work on getting to the right. They fixed her grip. Her grip went from here to here, and now she's about 95 mile-an-hour clubhead speed, and she can't make a cut on the on the Futures Tour. She doesn't even have a card.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, she's a great athlete. Lexi Thompson.
Lexi Thompson, ton of verticals. Actually, she matches up pretty good.
Yeah. What do we see? I mean, she doesn't have a ton of rotation, and she jumps out of her shoes and has a full release. I mean, that all matches up beautifully, right?
And side cover grip.
Someone asked about Francesco Molinari. I think he's got a lot of really good stuff.
He's side cover and loads and utilize the ground. We actually got to work with his brother when we were in Italy, who showed and all of a sudden he's driving the ball by his brother. He showed him the thing. Next thing at the Masters, 2 weeks later, we see him jumping, working the drills. We showed his brother, Eduardo. But Eduardo went from 112 miles an hour to 120 miles an hour and got pretty excited.
Tommy Fleetwood is side under, center post. Yeah, pretty good. I mean, he does.
Alex Noren, side cover, front post. Matthew Wolff, very much on top, center post. Somebody says he's got an unusual swing. He doesn't. He does pretty much exactly what he tests out to do. And that's why he's so good.
Yeah. I don't know about Danny Lee. I haven't haven't tested him. It always looked like his vertical force was extremely late to me.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, with George, I guess he's George Gankas, he picked up some speed. So I think he's pushing up earlier. Not sure what they're working on. Spieth we already talked about, so you're going to have to go back and listen. Michelle Wee, I don't really, I would guess she's probably side on center if I had to.
She's side on and center post.
Yeah.
They got her loading into her right side. She got too much knee flex. She got the club cocking up. She just got out of sorts. I mean.
Yeah, I think there's interesting, you know, I'm going to talk about that in my presentation at the winter workshop next week, is how, you know, someone like a Victor Hovland or Bryson DeChambeau, you know, front post, side cover, they'll tend to open up their body earlier. And, you know, so I went and taught a golf school with Josh Sander, and he called it active body, passive club for the side cover front post, right? Because they're turning it a lot earlier, and the club gets in and deeper. And
Josh is a terrific teacher.
Josh
also.
is unbelievable, and he's always thinking about, you know, how to communicate it better, and, you know, all the skills of being a great coach. And then you've got someone like Adam Scott, who, you know, rotates the club early. Lead arm comes off his body, which is totally fine too, but he's a side under golfer. And so, you know, that has a real effect on the hand path direction in the backswing, right? So going back to Michelle Wee, that, you know, uber restricted lower body, you know, the arms have got nowhere else to go, right? Because the pivot's not, you know, pulling the hands to the inside at all.
Right.
So then you've got to find, you know, you've got to fix that space and face. So somehow she's got to, you know, shallow it. But that's the kind of people that, you know, for us, I would say, you know, I think Ben Shear's on here. He talks about
resistors and releasers.
Resistors and releasers, and, you know, overly resisting, you know, probably puts a bit of strain on the body, I would think. So she's had a pretty bad run with the injuries. Although it looks like she's posting stuff on Instagram right now. It looks like she's swinging really well. She's using the ground well. Mike Weir, rear and under, playing well.
Yeah.
I think Mike, you know, with his long forearm, probably spent a little bit too much time trying to lay the club down for a period there. But it looks like he's playing really well now, which is great news.
You get over the brain damage, he'll play great again. He's a great player. He's a good ambassador for golf.
Phil Mickelson, I would say he's side under. Yeah. So if you watch, you know, for the subtle cues, if you remember what I said, the face rolls more open, lead arm comes away from the body. So even when he's doing his short game, he's showing some pretty good side under tendencies versus Brooks, you know, when he's hitting his wedges. Brooks is a great wedge player, right? He's down at medalist, Mike. So
hits wedges almost every day when he's there, as does Dustin Johnson, as does Justin Thomas. I mean, those guys all work really hard in their games.
Yeah.
Joaquin Neiman, when I tested him, one of the most under I've ever tested, and his golf swing is a perfect match of what he needs to be doing.
How about Paul Casey?
Same way.
Paul Casey just won this week.
Yeah.
Rory, we did. He's side cover, center post.
Paul Casey's side cover, plays with an open club face, and does it exactly what he needs to do. It's funny because Paul and I were comparing what happened with me as a kid. I mean, my right hand is very much on top of the club when I grip it, okay? And my father hated that, so he's always moving it to neutral. So I fooled him, and I started opening my club face up, and I played always with an open club face, which in reality was a side cover grip, or almost on top. Paul Casey got up there, and when we were measuring him, he was very much on top. He set up to it, and his right hand wasn't on top, but his club face was way open. And I said, so you play with an open club face? He says, yeah, because Peter Costas is always fixing my grip, but I can't play with that in that position. So I open the face up, which allows me to have the right hand more on top, and I hit the ball a lot better that way.
Steve, we don't really fix wrists at the top of the backswing. So the question you've got to ask yourself about wrists is why do they do what they do? And you know, the way that you grip has a big effect on the way in which the wrists work. Mike, I've never seen you change someone's wrist at the top of the backswing.
I never have.
Because it seems like it's a big deal for a lot of people. And I mean, there's a pretty huge spectrum. Hatton side cover, very low rotation. If anybody's ever seen Tyrell walk across the tee, he is one muscular dude. He's got huge lats, huge thighs, hugely powerful, vertical. So, I think, with his ground reaction forces, he's got a lot of face openers, so has to really release it hard to square it up. Looks like if he doesn't, he'll leak it. But playing unbelievable. But
Good player.
I don't hear anyone asking me to teach him to swing like Hatton, but he does a really good job of blending full release with aggressive lower body action.
Well, that's the whole thing is that people don't realize. I mean, like an under or side under, they have a lot of opening of the shaft in the backswing, but they don't have much on the downswing because they have very late release, and they stay bent. Right arm stays bent longer, so they have a low rate of closure on the downswing. Where the side cover on top, very little opening in the backswing, but they can't release the club soon enough.
That's right. As Phil calls it, an open face grip. They got a lot of open to overcome, right? So they have to do it early. Nicky Price, Mike, you see him down at Medalist, I would think.
Yeah, he's an incredible ball striker.
Duval is about as much under as it gets.
Yes, he is.
What do you think Tiger is, Mike?
Side on.
Side on,
And
center post?
he could actually be, he's almost side cover.
Yeah.
He has not let me measure him with that, but I've watched him hit balls, and when he goes slightly side cover, he hits the ball better.
I measured Bryson early, and he is side cover. And then I measured him later, and he's like, I can do whatever I want. And that's kind of the attitude of some people is, I can do this test any which way you want me to do. But that doesn't usually result in a very effective lesson. So isn't that interesting? There's other teachers and players that approach testing that way. It's like, I can do whatever I want, but it just doesn't work that way, right? I mean,
no, you're predisposed to move in a certain pattern.
Webb Simpson is side cover. Mike and I actually tested him.
Yes, we did.
And I would say there's some similarities to Lexi without the vertical, in that they rotate the club past their body, with a very low rate of opening of their body, and I think Webb releases as hard as he can and hits that draw, but that's his choice. So people say just because he has a side cover grip, does that mean he's going to fade every ball? No, but that's what we start him off at and get him to know what his home base is, right? And then if you want to aim right and hit some draws, that's good too. No problem.
Well, that's why we'll have him. We'll go and we'll put the glove on them, the paddle, and we'll have them, if they're side cover, we'll have them close their stance and do waist high to waist high swings, pushing until they find their neutral, and that's with straight ball. If they want to hit draws, they keep going to the right, to closing more and more until the plane shifts to the right and they can release it. And the same thing with the under golfer. We have them keep opening the stance until they find their neutral, and then what they can so they can swing it to the left and cut it. I mean, Justin Thomas plays from a slightly open stance so that he can hit a straight ball. Where Dustin Johnson and J.B. Holmes and John Rahm and Lee Trevino play from a very open stance so they can fade the ball.
Adam Scott, same thing.
Yep.
We got some good videos from Sacred Links this week. Who, if you watch, he's a little open to his target line, but the ball's starting, way down the right, so it's pretty cool. We got Hogan. I think Hogan for sure played his best golf with a weak right hand. He told everyone in his book to close their stance for the longer clubs. And
Snead,
same thing. But Snead and Hogan had different posts, right, Mike? You want to talk about that?
Yep. Well, Hogan is. I haven't dug him up, but I think he's center to front, where Hogan is. Snead is more center to rear.
Yeah, I would go with that. Best front posters. I mean, right now you'd have Bryson DeChambeau would probably be the best front poster.
Cameron Champ is pretty good.
I think the percentages of front posters. Yep. I think the percentage of front posters in the general population is more than on tour. I think there's more center posts on tour. Last time I counted it up. But it doesn't really matter what you are. You just got to do what you're. Mike is a rear post and a cover grip. I am a side cover grip and a center post. Short arms, so I bend over a lot. Sevi, I'll go side cover grip. Looks like he had long arms.
Yeah,
So
long
there's
arms, side
a
cover.
lot of up.
I never got to measure him either.
It looked like he tended to go to the front post, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those
Well, that's what
pictures
Mac
from
wanted him.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would all kind of match up. Yeah, but he also wanted him flatter, which I don't, my personal opinion.
No, because his club's set up and out.
Yeah. Keelan is side cover or center, I would guess. What is he?
Side cover center.
Keelan flushes it.
He does.
Arms. Close the slats.
That's cool. Who else we got, Keelan? Irish golfer.
Shane is side on front. I measured him the other day.
He's side on or side cover?
Side on.
Okay,
Oh,
and pardon? The other one that Rory is very much side cover and center. Jason Day is side on and center.
I tested Harrington and I forgot. I'm pretty sure he's close to center. So side on and center. It's surprising is how few, like in the top 50 we counted up, I think there was only 10 or 11 side on golfers.
Right.
And so, people that teach a middle way are good for those.
Yeah, Shane.
Long drivers, I've mentioned some long drivers.
Pardon?
Tim Burke is side under.
Right.
Gets the shit out of it. Loves golf. It's interesting how they all love golf so much, right? They get into long driving and then they start being golf addicts. I think almost never met bigger golf addicts than long drivers.
Baseball players.
Yeah, they're big golf addicts too. Lee Trevino fans, that's a good one. Lee Trevino, side under, aim left. So I was given that presentation yesterday, Mike. People compared Lee Trevino to Hogan, right? Because they both hit it low and dead straight and right at the middle of the club face all the time.
They're both opposites.
Completely opposite. Like the way
Trevino
they
was
did
wide open, played from way under, and hit cuts, and Hogan was closed, right hand on top.
Hit down on it and hit cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Keimer did not test side under, he tested side. He is playing weaker, so hits cuts. So, Keimer and James Hahn are the two that I've tested that are slightly different. They play differently to what they test as, but are still successful, as long as they understand what it does, right? So James Hahn knows that being slightly more under gives him the ball that turns left. And that's an interesting question. And Keimer knows that he's gonna cut it.
And Keimer's also front post, and he plays that way.
Right.
When he tried to shift, he played terrible.
Yeah. Is there a relationship between post assessment and where a player anchors their weight in putting?
We're gonna have to, if they come and watch the thing, they're gonna learn that all that from David Adele and from Bruce Rarick.
Lee Trevino fans, yes, it does. The way that so let's say short game, we'll come into this probably next year. There's a D plane, right?
Yep.
So you've got loft, you've got attack angle, swing direction, path, those things.
Yep.
And so the ball does what it does for the same reasons. And so the way that the player blends together, the movement of the club and the loft and direction of the club is slightly different. I'd say that under golfers tend to open the face more in the backswing. Side cover golfers tend to keep it down more, and they have a different relationship between the attack angle and the loft. So yeah, it's different. So on top, long arms, short pecker. Well, that's you, Jimmy. Jimmy Ellis is my hero, Mike. He had an online lesson last year, and then went and won the Pennsylvania State Open at Oakmont.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy Orlick is going to go to work there in the summer. Pretty cool spot. I
Yes,
think
it is.
might have to
Adam
try and pay a
Ulrich.
visit. So what else you got? What are people going to learn at the winter workshop, Mike?
We're going to blow their minds. I mean, they're going to learn a ton about putting. They're going to learn a ton about lesson procedure. I mean, the sequence of it, what to work on. They're going to learn new information from new research that we've been doing. Mike Duffy's got some incredible stuff,
Yeah, he
as does
does.
Dr. Kwan.
So we got two professors talking about ground reaction forces. First one is Mike's up first on Monday with some new stuff.
I mean, that's the one thing we don't ever see. We don't quit learning. When we finish one thing, we go right to work on trying to find out more information, and we bring the biomechanist in, talk to them what we need to, what we want them to look at for us, and go from there. And we don't like to guess; we like to measure.
People think it's so easy, Mike. You just say, "Hey, biomechanist, you know biomechanics. What's the right golf swing?" And it doesn't exactly work like that because they all have different.
You got to give them the right questions and
Yeah.
direct the right thing, and you got to pay them lots of money.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, it's great. We teach terrible golfers, and we do exactly the same procedures. So Mike's talking about the lesson sequence. So we'll usually fix their grip and swing direction first, and so that's what you do with your high handicap golfers. You got to get them hit in the middle of the face on a regular basis, and then you gradually build up, the speed, and start teaching them how to use the lower body. And
Well, they don't finish up as terrible golfers anymore.
they get better really quick.
guys and gals who stay terrible golfers. I mean, they become reasonable to better golfers, and that's the reason. That's what we do. I mean, our goal is to make everybody better. People are afraid. I mean, they hate to work with bad players. I don't mind working with anybody. Anybody who wants to get better, I'm going to give them 100% of my time and make them the best they can possibly be. Everyone can get better.
How do you participate in the seminar? Well, you go to www.theultimategolflesson.com and you can sign up where it says sign up. Do you like swing thoughts or feels? Yes. I mean, people are unique. George Deeds, I mentioned you earlier.
Yes, you did.
What's the dismissal procedure for not behaving properly? I think a verbal warning.
Wearing
first.
a Hamilton Farm shirt on air.
Verbal
George,
warning.
does that get me fired? Tell Caitlin to put together a care package and ship it to me.
Oh man, she'll get it from Kelly, and it'll be all liquor.
Not just that care package.
Not that one.
Better shirts.
Yeah. All right. Good night to the UK. We're actually starting to get a lot of questions from the UK. I think that was a good thing we did for Foresight. A lot of people in Foresight and UK like the Foresight stuff. So you look like you're ready to go to bed, Mike. You got anything else?
I don't have anything else. I'm ready to eat.
Hey, Nori-san, what was your question again? You asked me a question.
Is Nori on there?
Yeah, he is. He says he can't wait to see us. You can see us now. This is like very safe.
Yes. Last time we saw Nori at the start of COVID. That's the last time we saw him.
Nick Getty says I need to stop illegally smuggling iguanas because, well, the problem is I put them all up in the tree, Nick, and then it was 32 degrees and they all fell out. So, Nori's question was Colin Morikawa. I think he's just a tiny bit side cover. He likes to hit his cuts, center post, but probably a resistor. He winds it up pretty tight, and unbelievably mature golfer. Like Foresight versus Flight Scope is. Are you comparing a radar to a camera-based system? So, Flight Scope and TrackMan would be equivalent radars, and Foresight is a camera. So, based on those two things, you've got two different strengths. So the radar sees the ball the whole way, and the sticker system gives you a little bit more consistency with the face and the club delivery on the foresight, in my opinion. If you got indoors, then foresight all day, every day. Irishman here.
Excellent. What was the question?
Oh, I think you need to ask Bruce that one, but I'll answer it. Do you like to track the line from the ball to the cup in putting, or ball to a spot? Me personally, I see a line, but I've seen enough people see the curve, so I think that's a thing that you need to test out with the person.
Yeah, it's funny because Mike sees it as linear and nonlinear putters.
Right.
One sees a curve, one sees straight line.
Right. And I think there's people that do assessments for that. I would say, Colin, actually myself, I see a curve, but then I putt along a line. So that's what aim point is, I guess, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what's for dinner? You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
I think you deserve a glass of wine after all that, Mike.
I will do that.
All right, I think Nick, on that one, we're going to end it. So thanks, everybody, for holding on. A lot of people are using the quad. One of the reasons is, they get prototype drivers, and if the TrackMan or FlightScope hasn't programmed that prototype driver into the system, it doesn't see it properly. So, I've seen 12 miles an hour clubhead speed difference. So I think one of the reasons is that, but the main reason is they take it on the course, and the numbers are right there. They don't have to set up their iPad and this and that. So it's probably just ease of use.
Convenience.
Yeah. Mike, how can I practice to fire my right hand in the downswing?
Get yourself a swim paddle, put it on your hand, and take practices. Today I had the kids, one of my kids, teeing the ball up with the paddle and hitting golf shots, half shots, until he could flush it doing that. A girl by the name of Mandy Quattlebaum, who I teach, she actually hits it off the ground, takes a divot with the paddle on, and hits it pure.
Yes, I will post this on YouTube. How does a long forearm stop being steep? They close their stance.
Right.
Mike, I can hear your stomach rumbling from here. So
that's not mine. That's Keelan's.
His stomach's always rumbling.
How could you
All
tell?
I don't want to say anything without being racist. All right, guys.
Thanks
Good
for
night,
everything, Kerry.
See you, Keelan. See you,
Everybody
Mike.
have a
Margie.
good day. You need to sign up.
Good
If you
point.
want to get smarter and you want to get better as a player and as a teacher,
right.
you need to sign up for the Ultimate Golf Lesson.
We actually have a bunch of non-golf teachers sign up. We had tour players last time.
Yep.
And, just really keen recreational golfers. And so it's a good general education that is going to help everybody.
Perfect.
You got a, what's that called? Oh, my brain's dead. All right, guys. See you guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.